Here this morning to an honor a friend of about every person in this room. We're here to honor the memory of a man who was a giant in the bow hunting world, and he was a giant in the archery industry. If I may, I would like to read you a small, short biography of Jim. This thing could be 3 or 4 or 5 pages long, of course. We all know Jim. But may I read a brief biography for you? And then I'd like to share just 4 or 5 anecdotes, experiences I had with Jim, and then I'll set out. James Connor Dougherty. James Connor Dougherty was born in California on September the 27th, 1936. I was born a year before him. Born 35, so I'm here. He discovered a love for the outdoors and archery in the hills around Los Angeles. I said he couldn't take his bow and arrow around the hills of Los Angeles. I didn't put in jail. At the age of 16, he went to work for the famous Kittredge bow hunt. We all remember Doug Kittredge and the Poking Gun Club in the old days. And I think members of his family are here with us today. From there, he made a lifelong career in the archery industry. Jim met the love of his life, my beautiful Sue, friend of my wife Judy and mine. He met Sue at the age of 18, and they've been married for 58 long years. He had put up with Dougherty. He has said she is the wind beneath his wings. And I'm sure, knowing Sue like I do and like Judy and I do, she sure truly was the wind beneath his wings. Sue and Jim, I have 5 sons, 4 beautiful daughters-in-law, one of them just spoke to you, 12 grandchildren, and 9 great-grandchildren. Usually, how many grandchildren do we have? But how many? 16. Once, Dougherty, I finally did beat you at something. He is also survived by many nephews, nieces, and cousins. He will be fondly remembered by his many friends who are here today and associates he made throughout his career in the archery industry. One of his favorite friends, who I'm digressing a little bit if you'll allow me, is Judge Pete sitting there, who kept him out of jail many times. As I said, he will be missed and remembered fondly by his many friends and associates in bow hunting and in the archery industry area made throughout his career. In addition to being a remarkable bow hunter, Jim penned many articles for several popular outdoor magazines, and for decades he authored many books, which we have all bought and made sure he autographed to Kelly. Jim will be greatly missed by his legacy, but he will live with everyone in this room forever. If I may, I'll just share a couple of little moments of my life with Jim Dougherty. Jim and I have been friends and bow hunters together for some 46 years. I think it was 1969 when I first met Jim. And I'll tell you about my first meeting with your father, Holt. We were, Clinky and I and Adville and a bunch of other old-timers in the Poking Gun Club. We had, if you'll allow me, I'm going to digress just a tiny bit in the history of the Poking Gun Club and get into Jim in my first meeting. So anyway, the first Poking Gun Club convention was in 1969 at the Brown Palace in Denver, Colorado. A beautiful, historic old hotel which many of you have been in, I'm sure. Well, our noble founder, Lynn St. Charles at that time, decided, fellow bow hunters, that we would, at this convention, that we would have, the first time we would have a band, my television band, and that we would have the animals brought to the convention floor, like everyone in here was so used to seeing the display of animals. So Groucho St. Charles said, Harv Ebers and Clinky you're designated to go to the local taxidermy shop where the panel measuring took place, haul all that stuff up here and put it up in the ballroom where the convention was being held. So we duly did, and one of those fun things, the name of Rex Hancock, a dentist from down in Dougherty, Arkansas, had just killed a world record grizzly bear. Had his own thing mounted, vertical, etc., and it was all crated up. So I had Harv Ebers and Clinky, like the little servants of St. Charles, they went to the Ranger truck and got all the mounted, and this big bear on this big bear. So we're dragging this crate across a beautiful green slate floor in the lobby of the Brown Palace, and here comes the manager screaming and shouting epithets, actually what you call them, and Clinky and me. So anyway, but all right, having said that, we finally got everything up in the ballroom to St. Charles' satisfaction. Well, I'm standing in there talking to Clink and Annabelle, and y'all got to imagine this, only J.D. could pull this off. We were standing there in this beautiful ballroom, big, huge wooden doors. The doors swing open. You thought our Lord himself was coming. Here is Dougherty. You've got to understand, in my life, I'm going to digress just for a little bit. In my life, I never called him Jimmy. The only person called him Jimmy is sitting there, his beautiful wife, and his sons or grandsons. But men like Clink and me and Dick Tone, he was always Dougherty or J.D. So if I use the word Dougherty or J.D., it's not out of ill reverence. That's just what I knew Dougherty all my life was Dougherty. I don't remember 46 years of him ever calling me Harv. Anytime he called me, which he never did call me, it was Ebers this and Ebers that. So, leaving that aside, let's go back to my first visit or viewing of Sue's husband. The door slammed open. Our Lord himself, I thought, was coming in. Here is Dougherty in all his grandeur in 1969, looking much more handsome than Alan Ladd, with his beautiful blonde hair all thrown back. Behind him is the egomaniac of the world, Doug Walker. And I mean that with great respect for Walker, of course. Well, Walker was a movie star like Jim Dougherty, with his blonde hair all cooled back. And then behind him is Lenny Cardinale. Now, a lot of y'all don't know who Cardinale was. He was from the New Jersey Mafia, a.k.a. a ball hunter, that Well, all three of them I always claimed to Jim Kelly. So all three of them in them days, men with long blonde hair and long black hair, wore a little ducktail in the back. Well, they really didn't. But your father would get mad at me. I'd always talk about the first impression I had of him. Here stands Evers, you're with hillbilly from Missouri. I've been out of the military with Gage for a few years. I had Levi's on with a worn-out cowboy boot and a Arnold Pendleton shirt and a crew cut. And you can imagine, I looked at that door and I said, what in the world is that? So that was my first dude at JD. Well, the most interesting thing I had, and it cost me a lot of money because of Dougherty, was describing Peterson's bow hunter. It's a little too high-tech for an old-timer like me, but I would subscribe every year and spend $35, $40 for that subscription just to look at the back page, Trails In. Well, Trails In, as you know, how many years? 25 years or plus or minus, a long time. So I would duly buy a subscription or a magazine just to see what drill JD was coming up with that particular issue. Well, lo and behold, he had an article on Judge Pete. I was jealous. He never had mentioned my name in 20 years. I thought it was a month or two later. There's an article in there that says, better than a mule. Well, not many people read that. But that was all about his and my relationship. And then that he exposed me as one reason he would go hunting with me, so I would drag out the darn deer he would kill. I didn't do that. So then one other time we were called hunting in Abilene, Texas, and he barely mentioned my name and Frank. So but any time that I was in Trails In, once in 25 years, barely in another time, man, I would strut around there. The big guy had mentioned old Harv, so I was a happy camper. J.D. also had the habit in my life of never calling me in 46 year. You know, His Majesty is not going to call a lowly peasant like Harv Ebers. Now, one time he did call me. I had gone, I would always check in with him when I went anywhere. I think he and the boys went to Newfoundland on a woodland caribou hunt. So I get back, and I get busy, and I don't call His Majesty up and give him a report. Well, I noticed my voicemail hole was bouncing, bang, 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 bang. Well, I had a hunch who it was. So I lifted up, hit the button, and it said, well, click. I knew darn well who it was, and I was in the doghouse with J.D. So I duly called him and what have you. So that was an interesting moment. Another thing with J.D. is he was a prima donna dresser on hunting trips. You know, Ebers here, every fall, I went to the Salvation Army, got my lead up there, lead out. I went to Walmart, bought a 1095 yellow green shirt, and the local automobile agency gave me a camouflage hat there. So that was my time. So your old father, me and him, we would get duty into a motel or something the night before the hunt. He would, you know, remember he mumbled, stuff like that, remember that? And anytime he was running to a tree, instead of deer stand up, he was like an old dog getting ready to lay down. He would go around the trees and mumble, going down, trying to, that's the tree, he was so fast. The tree stand put it up. Anyway, so Dougherty the night before, Mossy Oak, real tree, and I don't use the stuff, so I don't know all the names, but it must be very overcome. Today's Under Armour, QU, and all that. Well, you have this double bag, all in nice little cellophane wrappers. You'd break out this from Mossy Oak, this from real tree, and etc. And then the next morning, he would just dress like a little, queen of the Indies. The only guy that I knew outdressed Dougherty was a guy that's not here today, and a lot of you won't know him, is Andy Carpenter. Carpenter was our little poster boy at all camp or wherever on the dressing. Well, anyway, those were some of my impressions with Jenny. But I would like to close on a very serious problem. In our lives, every man here, every lady here, we have a garden in our life. In this garden, we have a personal garden. Every person here has a personal garden. In that garden are many beautiful flowers. In my case, it's my beloved Judy, our children, all of our grandchildren, what have you, and all of the many friends that I have made. This is my personal garden I'm talking about now. All of my many friends that I have made over a life of living. Many of those friends and men that I've associated with, ladies, are here today. But standing in one corner of my garden was a magnificent rose. It had a few little thorns on the stem now that might bite you. But this magnificent rose stood in the corner of my garden. Its name was Jim Dougherty. And tonight, this morning, I'd like to give that rose to you, sir.